We're now joined by Ajay Kumar Dhir, Executive Director and Group CIO for Lanco Infratech. How are you today, Ajay?
I'm doing fine, Darwin. How are you doing?
Doing good, thank you. Ajay, we wanted to know, in today's highly globalized and multicultural environment, what role does CIO play and how has it changed over the last couple of years?
I think the role of the CIO has been a very transformational role, if you permit me to say that. It has moved much beyond IT management as it used to be till about a decade and a half back. From there on, it moved on towards process management, and over the last 7 to 8 years, I would say now the primary focus is people, processes and technology, as I call that. Hence, the role of the CIO is now a much broader role, which involves managing the talent pool which is there within his realm, talent acquisition, retention, talent grooming, preparing the talent for leadership positions within the function and in the organization, and then of course handling processes, making sure the processes are robust and mature enough, and then the technology which is supposed to be there. One more thing which is there, which has come up and many CIOs are ignoring it, is the connect with business. So two very important facets are there which have emerged. One is the people connect, second is the business connect. Technology is now being taken for granted as one of the key strengths that a CIO is supposed to have. So that's his principal line of action. People, process and business maturity. These are the three factors which a CIO now has to acquire, if not already done so, and those who have done have to sharpen them further and in fact consolidate their strengths on this.
Very interesting. Now, another buzzword these days is social media. As a CIO, what is your view on the growing impact of social media in today's business environments? How will it affect the organization's security, and are these the kinds of things that keep you up at night?
Social media is no more a buzzword, it's a reality, and the organizations cannot ignore it or be like an ostrich in the desert. What they have to do is in fact look at their strategy of configuring a social media policy, making sure that the policies for deployment of social media are secure, not making the organization vulnerable, and they are robust enough to make sure that there is a secure framework in place. In addition to this, social media creates a branding for the organization. So this brand awareness, this capability, this engagement and connect with the external ecosystem are the strengths that social media will bring to the company. By ignoring it, it will be not so fruitful, but by embracing it and with the requisite security in place, I think it's a great idea. What keeps me awake at night as a CIO is in fact the thoughts of vulnerability that may be there in our systems, in our IT systems, in our enterprise applications, or in our social systems which we have as the external face of the organization, and how to plug them and how to make sure that you are one up against people who would perhaps have malicious intent is what makes you actually not just awake, but makes you up and excited also.
That's good. A while ago, you talked about the CIO's role in developing people as well. Can you talk about the complexities of managing talent across Asia, especially with the increased competition in attracting and retaining talents?
Managing talent has always been a challenge, but I also say it's not just a challenge, it's an opportunity. How you yourself first as a leader and not just as a manager perceive talent, and how does the organization look at talent in its overall objective of doing business. Talent acquisition in Asia is challenging because there is an abundance of talent, but the employable part of that is lesser. How we have to look at addressing that is the right talent acquisition strategy, grooming, education, mentoring, looking at new catchment areas, and in fact, like I mentioned in my panel discussion yesterday, having a very good connect between the industry and the academia. When you go out into the academic institutes and position yourself as a preferred employer or as a preferred brand, do people really look at you as that, or are you just one amongst others? If it is the former, I think that comes with a lot of hard work and persistence. So, converting the so-called unemployable ratio into an employable ratio is actually not just only a challenge, it is a huge opportunity for organizations, and that is where their hiring processes, their OD processes and their talent grooming and retention processes have to be very strong and very employee centric. Once they do that, I think half the war is won. The other half is won when the people have joined the organization and then they are finding that there is a career path for them inside and not just a job. So, again it is a matter of not just branding, because that branding has got the visibility and the traction to get the people inside the organization. How you manage the people now once they are inside the organization is in fact more important than when you had to get them in. And if you are successful in this, one satisfied employee will create 3 more referrals for you, and that is a ripple effect, a very positive ripple effect that goes across the organization. And they are the brand ambassadors inside as well as outside.
Talking about social enterprise, what important lessons can other organizations learn from Lanco Infratech in terms of balancing security needs and seizing opportunities brought about by social media?
I would say social media gives you a heads up in the market, it gives you visibility, it gives you branding, it gives you a deeper sense of engagement and a deeper reach in the ecosystem. How to make sure that this is not subject to vulnerabilities, influence or malicious attacks is what you have to secure, and that is the primary role that we are there for as custodians of the enterprise IT assets and custodian of the enterprise information and web presence, in fact I would say. So, organizations definitely need to go ahead, not look at it in a hesitant manner, but once you are sure footed, make sure that your security processes are robust, firmly in place, well tested before you launch it.